Boxing fans around the world, thank you once again for joining us on Talking Fight for another episode where we feature Christian from the Friday night panel and his ongoing discussion with respect to the Olympics coming up soon in 16 days in Tokyo. So, what news have you found out for us today, Christian?
Well, Graham, a couple of stories to get through today. As we get a little closer to the games, and as you said, about 16 days to go here, we are starting to see things starting to tighten up, as we're seeing daily at this point in time in Japan, specifically in Tokyo. So, and we've been following this story, and as things have been scaled back, tightened down, clamped up, and everything else that's happening in Tokyo before these Olympics. So, starting off today, starting on Friday, so it's upcoming Friday, relay events for the torch relay in Tokyo will now be replaced. They're scrapping the torch relay for Tokyo itself altogether. And those events are now going to be replaced with flame lighting ceremonies that are going to be streamed online in the latest set of setbacks for the Olympics themselves. So only one leg in the remote Ogasawara Islands south of Tokyo are going to go ahead as planned, according to officials. So people in Japan have been taken to the streets in recent months calling for the Olympics to be canceled or postponed, as you guys know, amid coronavirus fears. The National Torch Relay has faced numerous problems since it began back in March, and nearly half of the planned legs of this journey have been disrupted in one way or another. Most recently, Kyoto and Hiroshima also scrapped plans for the relay to go through public roads there. A video has also emerged recently of a woman attempting to extinguish the Olympic flame during one leg in Mito City by squirting it with a water pistol. In the clip shared widely now, Keiko Takahashi can be seen shooting water from a small plastic gun at a runner carrying the torch. The 53-year-old was stopped by officials as she shouted "No Olympics" and stop the games. Ms. Takahashi was arrested on the charges were suspicion of forcible obstruction of business, according to Japanese media reports, and she has admitted to all allegations. Noriaki Nagatsuka, who's the deputy police chief in Mito, told reporters, "You can't shoot water at people for no good reason. She wasn't playing about. This wasn't child's play." Now, according to Ms. Takahashi's partner, who filmed the now viral video, he was unaware that his girlfriend was going to bring a water gun with intentions of disrupting the torch relay. So, things once again tightening up. No relays, no torches. We're on to torch lighting ceremonies as opposed to the relay that are going to be streamed online. I'm not sure if that's going to have the same broad public appeal as seeing the torch run through the streets of Tokyo is going to have. But that's what we're left with as far as the actual relay goes. So I don't think we'll be seeing the Olympic torch in any kind of live setting until the actual opening on the 23rd, from the sounds of it. Moving on, though, to our next story, we like to feature, some of the different challenges and things like that some of these Olympic teams go through in order to get to the games, and partially to help us understand how well we have it here in some cases, and in other just to kind of better understand that not everybody's Olympic journey is the same. So for example, today one of the things we're talking about, again, we're back on the subject of logistics here. So keep in mind, famous athletes in some of the sports like tennis, for example, or golfers who are headed to Tokyo, they're going to be arriving in Japan way up at the front of that plane. This first class treatment is something that some of these athletes from, for example, the Pacific Islands are a little more unaccustomed to. Let me give you a great example here. Fiji's gold medal winning rugby sevens team is going to be arriving in Tokyo, along with other members of their national team on Thursday via a cargo freight flight, which is mostly hauling frozen fish to Tokyo. So the commercial passenger flights from Pacific nations have become pretty scarce during this pandemic. Lorraine Marr, who's the chief executive of the Fiji Association of Sports and the National Olympic Committee, said on Wednesday that arranging travel for the Fiji team to Tokyo has been a bit of a logistical challenge. So Marr says around 51 athletes and officials, mostly the Fiji's men and women's sevens squad, that's rugby for those of you on this side of the squad, this side of the pond here, will on Thursday be on Thursday's flight from Fiji's principal international airport at Nadi. Now, it's a regularly scheduled flight, which does have some capacity for passengers. So they're not just hiding in the back with the fish boxes here. Uh, the Sevens teams recently had been based in Australia, where the Fiji men won the Oceania Sevens title in Townsville, Queensland, just 2 weeks ago. So these Fiji teams were originally expected to be flying directly from Australia to Tokyo, but plans were changed at the last minute due to new COVID-19 related restrictions in Asia and Oceania, mainly due to the spread of the more contagious Delta variant. Mark said dealing with the athletes' departure from Japan is also becoming something of a challenge as well. So the IOC, under current requirements, the IOC requires athletes to vacate the Olympic Village within 48 hours of the conclusion of their respective events. So Fiji currently has a flight booked from Tokyo to Nadi on the 29th of July after the Sevens tournament has concluded, which could also carry other athletes that have been eliminated or have finished competing in their respective categories. Another flight, though, isn't booked until August the 10th. So Mars is hoping that the IOC will be able to grant dispensation for athletes who are unable to immediately obtain flights home to remain in the Olympic Village until travel is available. Because keep in mind, they're not allowed to be staying anywhere else in Japan either under the conditions of their visas. So, among other Pacific Island nations, Samoa has already had to withdraw its three-man weightlifting team from the games because all of them were based in Samoa, and the Samoan government is concerned about the spread of COVID-19 infections in Japan. Now, 8 other Samoan athletes who are based overseas from Samoa will still be competing, and they're going to comprise of 4 sailors and canoeists based in New Zealand, a track athlete based in the U.S., a judoka in Japan, and 2 boxers currently based in Australia. Now, those will be Tupuola Ato Pladatsky Fa'oagali, who competes in the men's heavyweight, was the 81 to 91 kilogram division, and Marian Faustino Atong in the welterweight 63 to 69 kilogram group. Tonga will also be sending 6 competitors, but all but 2 of them are likewise based overseas. So, as it sits right now, we've got the athletes from places like Fiji and Samoa showing up in Japan, but having no feasible way to leave Japan in the proper way according to the visas they've been issued at this point in time. So they're going to be looking for a last minute decision and somewhat of a reprieve in order to let them stay, so that they can not only compete but not find themselves under some kind of under fines or other extended quarantines and things like that once they are in Japan. And like I said, the more this one develops, we'll let you guys know. Hopefully, we hear something in the next day or two that's going to ease the challenges that these Pacific Island nations Pacific Island nation native peoples are going through right now with respect to the games. Moving on, though, we like to introduce you guys to as we get close to the games here. We've been trying to introduce you guys to some of the names and faces that you're going to be seeing around the rings at the games. So today we're going to be talking about Nguyen Van Duong out of Vietnam. Now, when a 13-year-old Nguyen Van Duong stepped into the ring for the first time, he weighed just 33 kilograms and was promptly nicknamed the Little Chicken by his coach. More than a decade later, he's going to be traveling to Tokyo as the first Vietnamese boxer to compete at an Olympic Games since Seoul back in 1998. Of this, he says, "I come to the Olympics with the ultimate target of winning a medal." Duong is a featherweight, I should add here, fighting at 57 kilograms, and is currently at his training camp in Ho Chi Minh City. Now, Duong's extraordinary journey from Vietnam's Bac Giang, which is an industrial northern province and home to factories supplying Samsung and Foxconn, to Tokyo later this month, has astounded even the athlete himself. A ruthless performance in 2020 against Thailand's seasoned Chachai Deka Butti, which saw him dispatch his opponent in just 47 seconds to qualify for the Olympics, completely surprised him. At the time, he said that he actually couldn't believe he had won the match so quickly. Now, it should be also mentioned here that he had lost to that same fighter in a unanimous decision at the Southeast Asia Games final just a few months prior to that. A pint-sized 13-year-old who was towered over by other kids his age, Duong initially found it hard to be taken seriously as a boxer. When he appeared one day to train with the national police team, the coach turned to the teenager's cousin who had brought him and said, "You brought me this little chicken? How long is it going to take to turn him into a boxer?" So the moniker stuck. But Duong soon surpassed all expectations, winning the National Youth Boxing Championship in Vietnam in 2010 and joining the national youth team and becoming a small but lethal force in the ring. So this year, though, Duong has been almost completely locked down for months on end at his training camp, with athletes not being allowed out due to the latest coronavirus wave to hit Ho Chi Minh City. Once again, we're looking at that Delta variant. His current regime involves rising at 5:30 in the morning every day to work on his fitness, running, and weight training to start his day off, aware of the huge challenge that lies ahead of him. Duong recently said to reporters, "The qualifiers in Olympics are completely different, so I need to improve in terms of my technique, tactics, and speed, everything really." But the pandemic has made preparations particularly tough, he admits, and he has previously spoken out about the huge psychological and physical toll that this last year has taken. With local tournaments canceled and crucial match practice opportunities have been lost. He goes on, "When I got the ticket for the Olympics, I was in my best form physically and mentally. I wanted to keep fighting, but the games are postponed. And, I felt a bit down about this," adding that "I will try to deliver my best performance to bring victory to my homeland, my country, and to all boxing fans." So once again, it brings us back to the issue that we've been seeing with, David Nika down in New Zealand and some of the other teams that we've been talking about recently when we're talking in terms of a lack of sparring partners and a lack of international competition, and what that really means to a boxer when it comes to preparation for a major international competition, be that the Olympics, the Commonwealth Games, the Pan Am Games, the World Championships, Asian, European Championships. It really doesn't matter. Ring rust is a real thing. If you've only been stuck in your own home gym, you're only sparring against the people at that gym and your own fighters. You're not really you're learning to box those people. You're not practicing boxing at that point in time. Is really what it comes down to. Much akin to like a golfer who only ever golfs on 118-hole course. He now knows that course. He's not necessarily a great golfer, but he can golf great at one spot. And that's really what's going on here for a lot of these athletes that we're seeing. So once again, it'll be interesting to see if when we get down to the actual games themselves, when we start seeing these gold medals going out the door, are they going to be predominantly two athletes who have had a chance to get out, shake off that ring rust, get to some of these international tournaments that we've had a chance to cover over the last couple of months here, or are we going to see a surprise who's somebody we haven't had a chance to hear a whole lot about in the last year because they've been stuck at their gym this whole time? It'll be interesting to see as far as ratios go with these medals, what it's going to be. But I have a sneaking suspicion we're going to see a lot of medals going to boxers who have had a chance to get into these internationals. But that's just my opinion, and that's what I've got for you today, Graham, looking around the rings.
Mic on, and good stuff.
That helps. I thought it was just me that couldn't hear you for a moment.
No, we had the mic off while you were talking, so there's no interruptions. And once again, a great report. I hope we got a chance to see this young fella from Vietnam, because I don't know.
It's going to be the 57 kilograms is already going to be a really great weight group to watch this year. There's just going to be some phenomenal talent. And as usual, it's like watching fights in fast forward when you watch these little guys go at each other. It's absolutely brilliant. And they managed to pack more power and more punches into 3 minutes than anyone else. I mean, you don't see that kind of movement. You don't see that kind of speed in the heavier weight classes. So it's going to be a really entertaining group to watch this year.
So just for fun, I mean, are you going to take a look at who's fighting who and give us your picks as we move through the games?
Well, as we get closer to the games, and we're going to start taking a look at the actual cards once they've been published, who's fighting when. And for some of this, it will be easy. This is my point, though. For some of this, it's going to be easy. We're going to look at some of these fighters, and we're going to we've had a chance to see, enter this name. Zwirev, for example, Shakobin Zwirev out of Uzbekistan. We've had a chance to see him fight 4 or 5 times over the last year, so he's coming in already as one of the top seeded in his in that category. But we've also had a chance to get a good look and see what he's looking like in recent months. Whereas the little chicken here has been stuck at home in Ho Chi Minh City working out. So you go, it's an easy one to go, that'll be Zwirev for sure, absolutely. But, we might see some of these surprise ones. So some of these are going to be easy to call, and some of them it's just going to be based on, we've been watching this guy and we haven't been seeing some of these other fighters. So We'll try to give our our best opinions as we move forward, but it's really anyone's guess at this point, depending on how the draw cards play out.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Thanks very much, Christian. Appreciate it. And no, we won't see you tomorrow, will we? We'll see
I'm
you
not
on
here
Friday.
tomorrow, but I will be back Friday at 2 p.m.
Got it. See you then. Thanks, Christian.